Good evening, my good tenno. I am back after a little break. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas and I'm wishing you all the best for your new year ahead. This video is going to be my top 10 weapons for SteelPath in Warframe 2023. Now, before we get into the video, I do want to start by saying, of course, there are other weapons and this is just my top 10 weapons that I will use for SteelPath. So just think of this as a part 1. I would like to hear your top 5 weapons you use in SteelPath and I'll have a look at each of them and make a video on them in the future. So pop them in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps the channel out. Alright, let's get into it. The first weapon is the Phenmor, the minigun of Warframe, and does a huge amount of damage. Probably one of the top 3 primaries in Warframe right now. You obtain this weapon from Cavalera in the Chrysalant in the Zaramon sector. Now, all the uncommon weapons are quite late game and they take quite a bit to set up, but they are literally among the strongest weapons in the game. So it makes sense. This weapon is an MR14 weapon as well, so it's quite late game in terms of the master rank requirements, because obviously when you hit master rank 16 you unlock pretty much everything in Warframe. So for the build, we run a viral heat setup here. We go for galvanized chamber, galvanized aptitude for when you prime enemies, rhyme rounds, primed bane of Grenier or any other bane mod, malignant force, vigilante armaments, hellfire, and thermite rounds. And then we go for terminal velocity for that extra quality of life. It's really important for this weapon. And then primary deadhead as well for that extra damage. The evolution forms we run for the Phenmor will be rapid wrath, executioner's fortune, incarnate efficiency, and devouring attrition. Now, what is the Phenmor good for? Well, literally anything in Warframe. It clears all the way up to level cap with the right synergies, and if you pair this weapon with Ash and Zarta's Whisper, you have a dangerous weapon on your hands. Moving on to the next weapon on the list, which will be the Cedo. Now, this weapon is crazy satisfying to use. It is an MR8 weapon, so it's nice and early in the game, and I was just buying this weapon with Platinum because it's quite cheap on the market, and farming it can be quite a pain. This weapon has an alternate fire that applies a whole bunch of status procs. A very satisfying weapon indeed, and it is a strong pick for SteelPath and does quite a bit of damage. I have not tested this weapon at level cap though, so I cannot say how that performs there. Now, here is a setup we run. We go for a viral setup here. We go hunter munitions, a bane of choice, galvanized hull, critical deceleration, toxic barrage, shotgun barrage, and prime chilling grasp, and galvanized savvy. I haven't put an extra slot here, but you could put something like a ammo mutation or something like that. And then primary immersives as well, because the Cedo, although it is great, the reload speed of the Cedo kind of sucks. However, overall the weapon's great and it's an early MR weapon, and it's just, yeah, it's great. Not much more to say about this weapon, so let's move on to the next weapon, which is the Convectrix. Now, slash. More slash. If you enjoy slash, then this is the weapon that can easily apply hundreds of slash procs on a tanky enemy. It's just so satisfying to use. It's not the strongest weapon, but it's just fun, and it's something different to play. The Convectrix is an MR7 weapon where you can get from the energy lab in the dojo, and it's a beam weapon that starts outwards, and as you shoot, it hones into a straight beam. It is a status demon. Now, for the mods we go for efficient beams, which is a Convectrix specific mod, and as it states, only consumes ammo when dealing damage, and then 150% extra status chance, which is pretty insane. Shotgun barrage, and then we go for motor setup as well, which is 100% critical chance and status chance for 4 seconds after landing from a double or a bullet jump. This is pretty nice for the Convectrix. Then primed cleanse of corrupted, or any bane really, galvanized savvy, galvanized hull, toxic barrage, and chilling reload. Vigilante supplies as well for that extra ammo, and then primary merciless for that reload speed and extra damage as well. And that gives us a viral setup here, and you will just apply so many slash procs because it's 175% status with this weapon. So it's pretty insane. Now, this weapon is a slash based weapon, so it's not that great for Corpus, and well, infested is infested. However, it shreds corrupted and Grenier enemies. Like, it's destroys them. So it's a great choice for doing Grenier enemies, and also the downside is that it's not the best Acolyte killer, because of course with the SteelPath Acolytes you can only apply up to 4 procs of each status effect, barring like 1 or 2 or something, I can't remember. But for slash you can only apply 4 procs, which is not good because the Convectrix relies on many slash procs to do damage. Overall, fun Grenier killer. That's the takeaway. The next weapon is the Phantasma Prime. This is the other status king of shotgun weapons and also a beam weapon. The Phantasma is an MR9 weapon and one that I highly recommend people getting, or you could just buy the primed version as well. That works too. However, the normal Phantasma has a higher riven disposition for those who want to use rivens, This weapon melts SteelPath enemies easily, and if you pair it with Zarta's Whisper or Roar, you have insane damage. Now for the builds we go for either a viral heat or a corrosive heat. I personally enjoy corrosive heat. Now the mods are Shotgun Barrage, Galvanized Savvy, Galvanized Hell, Primed Cleanser, Corrupted or Any Bane, Toxic Barrage, Chilling Reload, Incendiary Coat, and Scattering Inferno. You want to build for a lot of heat. The more heat, the better. And remember, the reason why we run an unranked mod here is so that the viral weighting lowers and the heat weighting is higher, so that you apply more heat effects over viral, thus doing more damage. And for the corrosive, obviously just swap out one of these mods and then you get corrosive. We run Vigilante Supplies and then Primary Merciless. Now, Phantasma is brilliant. It's a great weapon, but there's one big downside. The ammo gets depleted really fast with this weapon. So you want to get an ammo mutation in your extra slot. That's why I put Vigilante Supplies here. Otherwise, I just can't complain much about this weapon. It's just super fun. Moving on to the next weapon, which will be the Laetum. Of course, it's literally the best secondary in the game, and it will carry you to level cap. It's an Nikana weapon, so you know where to get it and you know the whole spiel. It is an MR14 weapon as well. The evolutions we go for are Rapid Wrath, Lethal Rearmament, Nikana Efficiency, and Devouring Attrition. And the setup we run for the Laetum is a viral heat combo. I personally enjoy this one. You can do corrosive heat as well. That works pretty damn well too. Galvanized Diffusion, Hornet Strike, Primed Expel Corpus or whichever Bane, Lethal Torrent, Frostbite, Pistol Pestilence, Scorch, and Primed Heated Charge. We also run Steady Hands here because, well, the Laetum has insane recoil, so that's pretty good. And then Cascadia Flare for that extra heat damage that stacks up. This is a pretty big damage boost as well. Downsides of this weapon, literally none, to be honest. The only tedious thing is the headshots for increasing the incarnate bar, just like the Phenmor, but that's why we run incarnate efficiency in both the Phenmor and the Laetum, so that we can gain that bar quicker. Otherwise, just does insane damage. It's not as strong as it used to be because of the AoE nerf, so it affected the headshot damage, but overall still does enough damage. Get it. It's literally the strongest pistol in the game. It's insane. Moving on to the Sporelacer Kitgun, one of my favorite pistols to use, and it is an Acolyte killer. It consists of the Sporelacer, Haymaker, and Splat. You get the Sporelacer from Sun, and then you get the Haymaker and Splat from Rude Zood in Fortuna. There is no master rank requirement. You just need to be rank 4 with the Solaris standing and rank 0 with the Deimos, so that's super easy. For the setup we go for a corrosive heat, Galvanized Diffusion, Hornet Strike, Primed Pistol Gambit, Primed Target Cracker, Jolt, Lethal Torrent, Pistol Pestilence, and Primed Heated Charge. Extra slot, I haven't done it because I have to reform it again, and I don't feel like doing that. However, just slap on recoil or projectile speed, actually. Projectile speed would be pretty good with this. Cascadia Flare for that extra heat damage. This is pretty good. And Pax Charge. Pax Charge is very much so needed here because it's a battery weapon and the recharge delay is reduced by 50%. This weapon doesn't really have any downsides except it's AoE, so you will get knockback. So if you don't have a frame that has knockback, resistance, or a prime sure-footed, then use Inaru and max out Poise. That will solve that problem. Otherwise, Acolyte Killer shreds them and also shreds SteelPath enemies. Great pistol and a lot of fun. The next weapon is the Epitaph. Now I know what you're probably thinking. Why a primer? Well, I just felt like putting something different, as primers are really good with certain synergies, so yeah, why not? The mods we run are Lethal Torrent, Frostbite, Pistol Pestilence, Sure Shot, Amalgam Barrel Diffusion, Auger Seeker, Anemic Agility, and Jolt. This will give us a viral electricity and then a whole bunch of other status effects that the weapon applies. I didn't put anything in the extra slot nor the arcane adapter because I didn't think it was worth it, because it's just priming. You're not killing enemies with this weapon. So yeah, you could put that on if you want. I don't really know what you want to put there. Your choice. It's flexible. For those of you that have no idea what a primer is, basically you stack up as many effects on enemies, then you use mods like Galvanized Savvy or Condition Overload, which does more damage to enemies the more status effects are applied on them, and then you proceed to kill them with whatever weapon you choose. It's really good for Disruption and Void Cascade when killing high level enemies, or frames where you pull all the enemies together, prime them, and then just kill them really quickly. Now, moving on to the next weapon, which is the Cerata. Those of you who have watched my content for a while already know what I'm going to say about this weapon. I preach about it all the time. It's literally the best corpus killer in the game. So what makes this weapon so amazing? Well, it force procs Toxin when thrown. So it does all the damage to the little health bars of corpus and completely negates all shields. Level cap corpus, no problem. Easy and done. It's an MR7 weapon in the dojo in the biolab, so it's super easy to obtain. This weapon is just, it's a must-have for everyone in Warframe. I just get it. It's so unbelievably strong. For the mods, we obviously want to go flat Toxin, So Amalgam Organ Shatter, Killing Blow, Gladiator Might, Volatile Quick Return, Sacrificial Pressure, Sacrificial Steel, Corrupt Charge, and Primed Fever Strike, and then Gleaming Talon for the stance. This is very important. This is a glaive type weapon, so you throw it by holding E and then pressing Alt Fire to explode the glaive in midair, doing more damage in a radius. You only want to use glaives this way. Please don't normal melee with them. For those of you that have never used a glaive, only throw them. Otherwise, there's literally no con to this weapon. It's just stupidly powerful for an early game weapon. Now the next weapon is the Grineer variant, which is the Glaive Prime. Glaive Prime is expensive, yes, but absolutely worth it. And the Glaive and Cerata go hand in hand in my opinion, so I don't think one is better than the other. I just say if you want to do Corpus, go Cerata. If you want to do Grineer, then Glaive Prime. Here is the build we go for. It's very similar to the Cerata. We go Prime Smite of Grineer, Gladiator Might, Corrupt Charge, Amalgam Organ Shatter, Sacrificial Pressure, Sacrificial Steel, Volatile Quick Return, and Killing Blow. Gleaming Talon as well, same stance. Now what makes the glaive so strong? Well, it force slash procs on enemies, which is why it's good for Grineer and does huge amounts of slash proc damage. I don't need to say more about this weapon. It's a no-brainer. It takes you to level cap. You just can't complain about it. The Glaive and Cerata are the two strongest melee weapons in Warframe right now. Change my mind. And the last weapon on the list, which is the Nikana Prime. And I mean, how can you not love it? It's a katana. Like, bro, slash. It's satisfying. Also expensive, but just fun. That's all it is. And it does decent damage and just applies a whole bunch of slash procs, which is just a lot of fun. Now for the setup, we go Gladiator Might, Organ Shatter, Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, so we apply more slash procs, Sacrificial Steel, Sacrificial Pressure, Berserker Fury for more attack speed, and then a Bane, of course, because of the big damage boost. This is a pretty decent slash build for any weapons that do slash. This is pretty much how you want to build them. It's gonna stack really well with Gladiator Might, Blood Rush, and Weeping Wounds because, well, the more status chance you have, the more slash procs you apply. The only thing that kind of sucks about this weapon is that you kind of have to build up your combo all the way to max for this weapon to be at full potential. But overall, good weapon, good damage, and satisfying. And that is my top 10 weapons for SteelPath in Warframe 2023. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, comment down below your thoughts and your opinions on these weapons, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one, my good tenno.